Right then, this is a quick walk around video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.8 EX I-Shift. Very rare car, this one, in so much it's the mileage on the car with just 26,000 miles, but also the specification, because it's absolutely packed with options. As you can see there, it's finished in silver, which was an option at the time. It's also got the glass panoramic roof, full black leather interior with heated seats, rear parking sensors and rear camera. So it is a really huge specification car, and that would have added thousands to the initial purchase price, and all fitted at the time when the car was new as well. And it is in absolutely wonderful condition, as you'd expect. Front of the car, absolutely fine. You can't see any obvious stone chips on there. If there's anything, they're microscopic. I'm going to come down the near side of the car first. It's absolutely mirror smooth in the panels there, just wonderfully clean. It's just been washed off, no polish has been added to it, so you can see it in its original glory. Alloy, really lovely condition there, and the panels are absolutely superb. And the back of the car, sorry, on the options list I missed the rear parking sensors as well, which go with the camera. So it really has pretty much everything thrown into this car. And around to the off side of the vehicle, and as with the near side, it's mirror smooth on the panels. A bit shaky this morning, it's quite a chilly morning, so my hands are a little bit shaky. And then final alloy with just the tiniest bit of curbing right on the outside edge, pretty much the only marks on the exterior of the car. I mean, it's might have done a low mileage, but it's still nearly 10 years old, and that makes it, and it's just in a wonderful condition. Coming to the boot area, absolutely enormous boots on these cars, and it looks as new back here. It really hardly looks as though this has ever been used at all. All the fabrics look just factory fresh. Wonderful, wonderful condition. Underneath here, you've got this hidden cubby hole, which is about 7 or 8 inches deep. And if you give this a tug, pop it down, it sits inside that. Then you end up with another sort of extra depth into the boot there. Coming into the back of the car now. Car's fitted with a full set of original Honda mats, but all looks pretty much as new in the back here. Hardly looks as though anyone's ever used these rear seats. It's in wonderful condition. Passenger door card on the front, as with all the others, in beautiful condition. Footwell areas again. It's just been given minimal use, it really, really has. Finally comes to the driver's door. You can see no marks on there at all. All the recesses absolutely as clean as you'd like. And then footwell areas, and driver's seat again just looks factory fresh. So sat inside the car now, engine's running through this section of the video so you can see the dashboard illuminated. The dashboard not only looks fantastic, but it looks absolutely as new. It's in just stunning condition. See there, there's the gearbox lever for the gearbox for manual and auto settings. Heated seats, all working absolutely perfectly. I'll pop back up there. That's a lovely high level sat-nav system. Pop the car into reverse, then it goes into a camera, which was an option on the vehicle, not standard. And then to come around here to give you this wonderful driver's eye view of this sensational dashboard. And that's pretty much exactly where you want to set the seating positions, so the steering wheel rim slap bang between the rev counter and the speedo there. But there's nothing else that looks quite like that. And in my opinion, that's a good thing. I know it's not everybody's opinion, and I completely understand that. But all working absolutely perfectly. I'll just go in there for you, hopefully you can see. Just 26,877 miles, and absolutely no warning lights on the vehicle at all. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.8 EX I-Shift. particular car is registered RE58HDG, and mileage at the start of the road test is just 26,870 miles. Reason for doing these road tests is essentially so people that are looking at cars in the adverts online actually get to see the very car we're advertising in operation. That way we can demonstrate the car to you, and also, and very importantly, pick up on any issues there might be with the car prior to you coming to see us. That way, it's also done on these lovely quiet country roads very close to our premises, which forms part of the test drive. We're very well aware that lots of our customers come from not just local to us, but also many miles away, and even into Europe as well. So the least we can do is go to the time and trouble to do this for you. So coming to the car itself, I'm going to go through the mechanicals of the car one by one, but without risk of being a sort of spoiler or anything. Clearly, with such a low mileage and with such lovely service history, you'd expect the car to be good, and it is in every way, shape or form. Because on this test drive, I like to spend a bit more time on the IR shifts, just to explain the gearbox to you, how to use it, and how to get the best from it, in my opinion anyway. But to go through the car, engine first, starts absolutely instantly, of course, settles to even, smooth idle, and pulls absolutely beautifully through the complete rev range of the car. They're a fabulously refined and sweet engine to operate, and perfectly suited to the car. There's no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the vehicle. Temperature gauge is running at a third, which is exactly where it should be on a Honda car as well, and it's been running for quite some time now. Engine then feeds through into the gearbox, which works absolutely perfectly, and I'll spend, as I said, I'll spend more time on that in due course later in the video. Steering of the car on the Civics is really positive in every sense of the word. It's lovely and direct. You hardly have to turn the wheel at all, and the car responds instantly. It's got a lovely weighting to it, and it's a very fine setup indeed. I can't detect any wear in it, which I wouldn't expect given such a low mileage, and there's nothing at all on this one. It just feels really taut and crisp in hand. Just wait to get around the corner a second before I attempt to take my hands off the steering wheel. But basically, tracks absolutely bullet straight. There's no wheel vibrations at all at this speed, or any speed up to the legal limit either, so all in very fine order there. Chassis of the vehicle is, again, what I'm looking for on road tests is when I'm hitting bumps like that one there, I'm just looking out for any kind of secondary noises that are sort of chattering back through the chassis at all, and that would normally be sort of fairly innocent stuff, like little drop links just chattering away. They're fairly cheap to replace, but can be more expensive rubber bushers or suspension components, and there's nothing on this. It rides exactly as you'd expect it to, with the noises you'd expect to come from it. It's also a chassis which, as I said, works beautifully with the steering of the car, because it's very dynamic. Lovely direction changes, great composure through the corners. It doesn't pitch or wallow through the corners at all. It really holds its line wonderfully well. And on the vast majority of road surfaces, like this one here, it rides very comfortably indeed. You'll hear some criticisms of the car to say, the ride is sometimes a bit too hard. No, not at all really. It's only the sharper ridges that catch out most modern cars that tend to sort of shudder back through the car. So sort of town centres, yes, you can get on potholed roads, and it will get caught out, but that's no different to pretty much any other car. Just going to give the brakes a bit of a shove, make sure there's no one behind me. A really good solid brake pedal. What I'm looking for again is just making sure the nose, when it comes down straight, doesn't pull violently left or right, but also that the brake pedal itself it exhibits no kind of sort of pulsing or vibrations through the brake pedal, but all in fine order. Then looking around inside the vehicle, I mean, it's just a joyful place to sit and operate a car from. Bear in mind, this car's not been cleaned yet. It's not going to need a lot because it's in beautiful condition in here. No squeaks, no buzzers, no creaks. They're really, really, really well made cars. But to me, it's just this dash. I mean, it's just such a wonderful place to sit behind. But it is there for a reason as well. It's not just for styling and to be sort of, you know, nice to look at. It works really well. So the information you want to look at on a regular basis, like sat nav on this car here, is high up on the dashboard. Speedo in the most brilliant position of all. You know, again, high, easy to read. I can look at cars directly in front of me without taking my eyes off the road, and I can see the speed I'm doing out the corner of my eye ever so clearly. So we're checking the cruise control, which works perfectly. But it's just a brilliant dashboard. Down below the Speedo, you've got this more conventional, if you like, pod. But in that, you've got kind of this, almost like this floating guys, a hologram effect, where they come out towards you, and it just looks brilliant. Big dominating rev counter, flanked by the temperature gauge and fuel gauge, and then the information display in the middle of it all. But all working exactly as they should as well, by the way. Everything does, all works absolutely beautifully on these controls that I'm directly in front of me here. So to come to the gearbox, I've always maintained that, you know, this is a manual car with an automatic facility. That's the way I've always looked at them. You can, as most people do when they buy them and leave them in automatic. You start the car, just to the left of the Speedo there, it says A for automatic. So I'm in automatic and it does all the gears for you all the time. So that's it, just leave it, and that's if you want to. However, when I drive these cars, I tend to use the automatic for the times that I tend to like to use it. Heavy traffic jams, that kind of stuff. But on the open road as I am now, I prefer to drive in manual mode, but it's a preference. So to go into manual mode, really simple. You just tap the gear lever to the left. So you feel a spring actuation. It then selects the corresponding forward gear for your forward speed, which is it selected 6th gear for me. So if on as I'm driving along, if I want to change down the gears, I tend to use the gear lever here, pull the gear lever back, I'm in 5th, 4th, and it changes down for you. It's as simple as that. What it also does on the down changes is what's called rev matching. So as you change down, it blips the throttle slightly, so you don't suddenly surge towards the dashboard because you haven't sort of hit the brakes hard enough or otherwise. It's so clever. And to go up the gears, just nudge it forward. It's as simple as that. Beauty of the system, and it is very, very clever indeed, is that you can't stall a car even in manual mode. If I was to slow down now but forget to change down my gears, the car will change down gear automatically for me because it knows I'm going too slow for the forward gear I'm in. And I'll show that in a second when I come to a stop. So I'm going to go up to 6th gear, and you may not be able to see the readout up there, but basically I've got to turn right in a second, so I'm going to come to a complete stop and watch what the gears do. So I come around the corner now, hit the brakes, 6th gear, 5th gear, 4th gear, 3rd gear, 2nd gear, and 1st gear, all the way to 0, and it didn't stall because it can't. What it won't do, of course, and I'm going to leave it in manual now and pretend I've forgotten as well, is just accelerate. It's just going to rev because it won't change up for you. You've got to do that yourself. It just protects you when you're going down the gears, basically. You can also use the gears by these paddles on the steering wheel here. Left hand one is down the gears, right hand one is up the gears. So currently in 3rd gear, to change up, just pull that back, we're in 4th gear, and pull it back, I'm in 5th gear. And then this one here, 4th gear and 3rd gear. And it's simple as that. I'm going to be honest with you, I prefer to use this one here. The reason is that at low speeds doing tight manoeuvres, sometimes that up paddle or down paddle might be at different positions, kind of around there, especially when pulling away out of a junction. It's easier just to tap the gear lever as you're pulling away on that one there, but again, that's a personal preference. But the car is wonderful. The main advantage of this gearbox, by the way, is it still gives you the 6 speeds from the manual gear change. And that basically essentially means your fuel economy is unaltered from the manual car, so you'll still get very easily mid-40s to the gallon out of the car. They're very, very fuel efficient. In the hugely unlikely event you have a problem with the gearbox on these cars, it is still just a manual gearbox inside, so just synchros and hubs and gears whirring away, which by comparison to a conventional automatic gearbox or one of these DSG boxes cost hardly anything to repair. By comparison, they cost thousands, whereas these tend not to, obviously. Not that we've ever touched one, but it's just in case. But it's a great gearbox. It really is. Obviously, as I point out to people, because it's manual, you do feel it changing gear more noticeably at lower speed. Not dramatic, but it's there. At higher speed, you hardly notice it at all, because it is still a manual gear change, albeit without a clutch. But as I said, use it in automatic if you want to, or use the manual, which I do, and get the best of both worlds. As I said at the start of the video, the point of the video is actually to be critical of the car if there's something not right with it. Nothing to worry about in this one. It drives absolutely beautifully, as close to new as you'll ever find on any used car. It really is a joyful car to drive. However, if I missed something on the video, don't hesitate, please do give us a call and we'll happily answer any questions you might have about this car.